Yo, what up? It's your dude Tank Lip. So my apologies that, it's been a while since I've been on some blogging shit. So let me get you up to speed, on some up-to-date, like what has Tank Lip been up to? So this blog is Tank Lip versus Panera Bread. I know you're like, the fuck is this kid talking about? Tank Lip versus Panera Bread. Like, how could that shit be any type of hip hop? But yo, let me tell you how Tank Lip flips scripts and shit. See, it all goes back to some hip hop flip flop shit. This story is bananas crazy. Now I've been sitting on it for a minute. This is not yesterday's news. This ain't today's news. And for all practical purposes, it's not tomorrow's news. Although the saga between Tank Lip versus Panera Bread is very much an epidemic that could be some shit that goes down tomorrow. But I'm going to give you an anecdote that's a good month and a half old. And I had to have some discipline to sit on this shit and not, immediately blog. Like, I wanted to really take in and process the craziness of this situation. So, this is like my morning coffee spot, right? So, that alone is some reason why I didn't want to blog about Tank Lip versus Panera. Because I don't really want my quote-unquote enemies knowing where I get my fucking coffee. Like, if you know what I'm saying. Like, because once I put this out, that it's Tank Lip versus Panera Bread, and that's my morning coffee spot, I'm sipping my Java tomorrow morning, and I got my enemies, like, at the table across from me. And, like, I'm not all about that infiltration. Like, I gotta have some type of fortress, like invisible walls and shit, to keep that perpetrator, like, at a distance. So, just that alone is a reason why I didn't blog on that. Because now, I gotta switch to, like, going back to Dunkin' Donuts for my coffee, now that y'all know Panera is my spot. So just, understand the thought process and shit. So for a good 17 months, out of convenience, not even because I prefer this kind of bitter tasting coffee, but just out of mere convenience, this was my morning spot. Figure something like 8, 9 a.m., 10 a.m. And because I'm Zombieville, for a variety of reasons, I require not just 1 cup of coffee, but we talking about like about 4 cups of coffee for Tank Lip. Now, I'm a regular. Like, I'm talking like I hit the spot every day, 17 months straight. And that's my morning dose of the coffee. I hit mid-afternoon, I hit early evening with another cup. Like, these people see a lot of Tank Lip. Probably just on the measure of, like, steady, business, could argue that I was their best customer. Not even knowing how much other people frequent Panera Bread. I'm going to say it's a safe guess that I'm probably their best customer. Now, I'm not going to say I'm their best customer in the sense of, like, the most liked customer. In fact, I was experiencing kind of a negative vibe from the staff. Now, I'm just talking like 1 person, 2 people. I'm talking like I felt like some script had been flipped. And this is not paranoid mental illness Tank Lip talking right now. Like, I'm an intuitive type. I'm not reactive that I reacted to this vibe I was getting thrown. But I did observe there was a shift in the vibe that was being thrown towards me from the staff. That just so happens to be a young, predominantly female staff. They got a couple males in the mix, but it's mostly young females working there. And the vibe went from like nice and friendly They had even taken a Tank Lip CD at one point. Girls like, yo, I was actually feeling track 2. I'm like, oh, which one was that again? And she's like, I don't know, whatever was track 2 on that CD you gave me. Like, we were on that kind of basis. Like, it was a friendly vibe, It was interactive. I'm shooting the shit with them. They're shooting the shit with me. Not stupid, I could see eyes rolling at me from time to time, but then there was also some young women that were friendly, and it was a more positive vibe. Well, this is for 17 months straight. We'll just say the majority of that 17 months was a nice, good, friendly, positive vibe. Well, again, this anecdote is about a month and a half old, but 3 weeks before that month and a half old day, a month and a half ago, some shit went down. And 3 weeks prior to that, I had noticed a shift in the vibe. And I was like, I'm not feeling this. Can I trust these people to like serve me my coffee and shit? So, I'm Zombieville in the morning. I got diabetes. I'm shaky, twitchy and shit. Like all kinds of variables, making my physical condition, not up to par. I can't focus because I got sleep paralysis and sleep apnea. Like, that's why I'm on some major, like, coffee doses to, like, get even by, like, 12 noon. So I gotta drink my morning coffee. But to, like, avoid embarrassing myself, like, out of vanity and, like, self-consciousness and, like, some type of social etiquette, I understand, like, what my appearance must seem to, like, an immature young female that might be working there. And I don't want to embarrass myself. So predominantly I would drive through so I don't have to interact with people as much. I just drive through, tell them what I want in my coffee, they get it for me. Put the sugar and cream in and shit, and they give it to me. But I noticed this shift in their vibe towards me. And I was like, this is my worst nightmares come true. Like, I'm even starting to feel a little more sick. I'm thinking, like, what the fuck they put in my coffee? Like, I don't trust people, and I'm trusting them to do my morning coffee for me rather than go in and do it myself. And I'm like, you know what? Maybe that's no longer a good idea at this point. Like, I did it for 17 months, but, like, they are not even being hospitable at all. Like, not even the minimum amount of hospitality. Like, it's actually hostility that I felt like I was getting thrown. So I started going in and, like, for 3 weeks, observe the situation in the store, make my own coffee so I could control that variable. No slick shit where someone walks over to the coffee counter while the, young female staff members make my coffee. Then she conveniently gets distracted, leaves my coffee on the counter, and, some homeless man comes in and puts like a fucking roofie in my fucking coffee or some shit. Like, whatever. I was like not taking any chances. And I noticed that negative vibe that I started noticing through drive-through, I started noticing it more and more because when I go in, I can actually see more of the staff members. And I can actually see what customers are camped out in there during that time I get my coffee. And I'm like, yo, shit, good call that I started doing this, because that negative vibe, like, it seemed, and it's not like a self-fulfilling, like, manifestation, like I'm thinking it, so therefore that's the reality of what I'm seeing. Like, I really believe I'm observing, like, a staff that can't stand me, like, for whatever their reasons, they don't like me, alright? This goes on for 3 weeks, to the point where I'm like, I really need to stop being lazy and just, fucking take the drive and Dunkin' Donuts and shit. But out of convenience, like, I'm stuck in this pigeonhole and shit, where I just keep going back to Panera day after day, and 3-4 times a day filling up coffee and shit. After that first initial 4 cups. Well, one day, it's a Sunday in fact, I remember this, and it's real crowded, like a fucking zoo in there. And I can get uncomfortable in like big crowds, because, like, I feel like I do need to observe my surroundings. And when there's more people, that's more variables to observe. So I'm a little anxious. My diabetes, my sugar hasn't stabilized from my fucking metformin and my glimepiride and shit yet. So my sugar's high, I'm shaky. My eyes can't focus because I got sleep paralysis and sleep apnea. You know, I'm not getting efficient sleep at night. So I'm a wreck in there amongst the zoo of crowded people in the Panera lobby online. So then I go up to, you know, make my order to get my coffee cup so I can fill it up. And conveniently, the cash register is like not working for them. So I'm like, am I gonna stand there with my head up my ass, like with 30 people behind me online that I can't like crack neck and shit to observe them? I don't wanna seem even more weird. So I gotta stand there like facing the girl at the register, but I got 30 people on my back, like who's got Tank Lipp's back to watch my back and shit. So I'm like, I gotta think quick. So I'm like, you know, is this gonna be a long situation? You know, with the cash register. I'm like, just take the $10. You know, when you get the cash register working, you know, you can give me my change. I'll just go fill up my coffee and come back. Well, I did that like quick on my toes thinking in like 30 seconds. In that 30 seconds, this one dude who I had seen on the back of the line, I don't know how he got to the front of the line in that 30 seconds. I mean, I had just seen him walk in to this lobby zoo, okay, and then he's at the back of the line. All of a sudden, he's at the front of the line with me and shit. I don't know if he called ahead or what. And he brushes into me. So like I'm already was on that kind of paranoid wavelength of like, I don't want to turn my back because you never know when someone's going to brush up into you. And the dude actually brushes up into me. And I'm like, I'm not cool with this. But I don't want to be reactive either because I'm already getting a negative vibe from the whole Panera crew. So I don't want to have bad behavior in Panera and give them a legitimate reason to think I'm an issue. Like they made me an issue on their own like telephone game, like immature girls being catty, passing rumors about this guy, he makes me uncomfortable, this and that, okay? I didn't want to give them a legitimate reason, so I go outside, I just want to take note of the dude's license plate. You know, in case I ever see him around town again, type shit. And you know, some shit actually does go down, I can already place him at a location where he was already brushing into me. I don't know what, he's sticking me with something, whatever. I don't call no police, nothing. I just take note of his license plate. In fact, texted it to my phone, and some of my people's like, you know, suspicious character, here's his license plate, and you know, we'll just keep note of it. We won't act on anything. 2 days later, I kid you not, I'm sitting in my car drinking, you know, morning coffee at Panera. I had already like gone, no, actually, don't let me get it twisted. I just pulled up, backed into the spot, you know, on some CIA type parking situation. I haven't even gone in yet. And the dude is like grilling me, like really scrutinizing like the way I'm pulling in. He's just kind of flexing his, it's the same dude that had bumped into me 2 days before on that line, like on that suspicious shit. And now he's giving me like these aggressive mannerisms, lip syncing some shit that looks like he's mouthing off curse words. I don't know what he's saying because I'm in my car, right? So I'm like, fuck it, I'm not going to be an immature 17-year-old type and get out of my car like, dude, we got a problem? Why are you staring at me? I don't act like that. I'm a 35-year-old man. But I take note of this guy's like throwing me an aggressive vibe. And actually at this point didn't even notice that he was the same dude from Sunday. Okay, the only recognizable thing that I knew he was the dude from 2 days before is what I'm about to get to. So I go in, I get my coffee, this dude that was throwing me this kind of aggressive vibe from 20 feet away while I haven't even gotten out of my car yet, he's online, pays no attention to me at that point. I'm like, okay, cool, maybe I'm just imagining shit. Get my shit, go back into my car. He comes out about 2 minutes after I'm back in my car, drinking my coffee in the Panera parking lot. He starts throwing the vibe again. He was acting all cool inside Panera. Didn't want to let on to no staff that he's like throwing me this vibe, but continues doing the same thing he had done previously 10 minutes ago. Then he drives off, and I take note of the license plate because that's what I do. When suspicious people act suspicious, I take note of shit. I'm like, this seems like the same license plate. Let me cross-reference the one I texted 2 days ago. It's the same license plate. I didn't even recognize that it was the same dude. Maybe today he had like a cap on and some different glasses, but it was the same car. So I call Oviedo police. I'm like, listen, this is not an emergency. I don't want you to think this is like some crazy guy, you know, imagining some shit. I'm not calling for an emergency. I just want to document and have on file that there's a particular individual that in the last 2 days has been either following me, trying to access near me, like, and he's throwing an aggressive vibe, and I happen to have mental illness. So if there's an altercation in 2 weeks from now, I don't want to be the one automatically assumed as the wrong one just because I have a history of mental illness. And this guy's being aggressive, and one day he actually attacks me. He's already brushed into me 2 days ago in a Panera lobby, and now he's like just blatantly throwing me like an aggressive vibe, like hands up, mouthing curse words, and he's staring at me. So like, who wouldn't pay attention and focus to that? So, you know, I notice shit, even when shit's not happening. So when something like that happens, I notice it. And like, I'm being baited in by this guy for whatever reason.